And well, the big secret is this is my 1 year YouTube anniversary, and I'm so happy to be sharing it with YOU, baby. Listen, what's going on, good looking? We're going to jump right in. This is going to be a little bit different, not doing so much art, but there is a live stream art video coming up where I'm going to be answering some questions and I'm going to be doing some art, and I hope to see you there. I see you here. Don't leave. Don't fast forward. Let's go. So, my paint pouring journey began sometime in the spring, fall, or summer of 2017. There weren't many artists on YouTube, but I saw people like Millie D, Anne Marie, and a few others on YouTube pouring, and I decided to jump into the action, and I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know much about paint ratios at this point. I was just pouring, mixing paint with some water and pouring, and I did that for about a year and had some really amazing results, but life happened. I was getting settled into my career, trying to be an adult. Adulting is overrated, as you probably know. And I never put it down, but it was not a focus. Well, fast forward to about October of 2019. Prior to the pandemic, I enrolled in the Shelley Art Bloom course, and it took me 9 months to accomplish a decent bloom, and that was with many failures. But during that time, as I started to get better, people started asking me, hey, did you record a video? Like, we would love to see how you did this. And eventually it got to the point, well, maybe I should start a YouTube. September 9th of 2020 was the beginning, the first video of this journey. And I just wanted to share some of my experience. And so for those who want tips about starting a YouTube, I got a section on that. But this portion is just my journey, and it has been fun. It has been very interesting and eye-opening in how amazing social media can bring us together. I have met so many amazing people who were once strangers from painting and interacting on social media to the point where we met up for dinner, we met up for lunch. They've come to my house, I've gone to their house, and that is simply amazing. Like, for real, for real. Starting a YouTube was not easy. It seemed so daunting. But what I quickly learned is that all you have to do is press that record button and just get started. And that's what I did. And after my very first video, I'll never forget, Jessica Winterstorm, another amazing artist, sent me a message via Instagram just saying how she loved my first video and there was something special that I had to offer, and gave me a ton of encouragement. And that actually is leading me up to a big old secret. But when I made my second video, the same thing happened again. Another artist, another stranger, reached out to me and just was like, there's just something about your video that I love. And if you go back to that first video to now, I have made some major changes and upgrades to my channel. And that just came from looking at other YouTube channels and looking at YouTube content on how to grow, and just seeing what was out there. And I don't have any videography or video editing. I don't have any formal training, but YouTube University is a beast. And when I tell you I utilize those apps like crazy, listen, if it's free, why not try it? But as the birth of my channel came along, my life motto, which is do everything with love, that came into the picture right before the channel started. And a lot of people, they make comments, oh, I love your motto, but it means so much to me because it is a challenge. Listen, Do everything with love. Treat your friends, your family, and even your enemies. That means the people that you don't like, even though someone may do something to you, you can always treat them with love. You can say, look, see you later. I'm going to exit stage left, or you need to exit out of my life, but you can do it with love. And that motto has stuck with me. You know, it just, one day it just all came together. I'm like, this is my life motto. Like, it's a challenge. On the surface level, it seems, oh, that's nice. But when you really think about it, it's like, no, that's a little tough. But it means a lot, and I don't ever plan on changing that with my channel. Look at what we have experienced recently with a global pandemic and a smile, a hug. You know, a nice gesture can really go a long way when you're down and out, or you have had some really cloudy days, and a lot of people wear their smile on their face, but inside some people are crying, or they're hurt, or they're recovering, and just a little bit of love really goes a long way. So that's my spiel on that. As far as the journey of YouTube, it took me about 9 months to get monetized with YouTube. I never started a YouTube for the money. It's still not for the money. Yes, do I need to recoup some of my money from my paint supplies? Absolutely. But it's always, the main two things was meeting new people, and it was an outlet for me in the pandemic. Like, dealing with some elements of depression, just like with everything that was going on, and then I was working full time. I'm still working full time. And it was just like, it was just a lot to digest. And at first, I couldn't understand why people were so upset about like working from home or being home. Like, I would love to be home, but it hit me like 9 months in, like after everything had been shut down. I was like, whoo, like it really affects your mental, you know. YouTube was my outlet, and it was a wonderful outlet. Um, Never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined that I would have gained so many subscribers, but paint sponsorship, amongst other things, so many things are coming, and you gotta stick around. You know, you gotta keep watching me to see the big things that are coming, but there are some big things coming. So the big secret to all of this is I've never told my family or my friends about my channel or my art. Now, let's digest this. I have told my immediate family, my mom and dad, and one cousin, two cousins, and a few select co-workers about my YouTube journey. But people are gonna be watching this who know me and like, this is very strange. Like, I've let all these strangers who become an extended family into my life, but not told my friends and family about this journey. But it was by design, and not to say I don't have a toxic family. I have a great group, small group of friends and family, but I've always been a person. I can be a little bit private. I can be a little private. I like to try new things, and sometimes people can want the best for you, but sometimes not encourage you in the way that you need encouragement. And for me, I am confident in my abilities to do things when I set my mind to it. And it's super important that you know yourself and your self-worth. And I knew that this was something different and that I wanted to do. And I just didn't feel a need to share it yet. But now I'm sharing it. So if you go and look on every single video I have, everybody that comments, 99% of them were complete strangers to me. You won't see, hey bro, or hey cuz on any of my videos because they did not know. It's kind of crazy. And on the flip side, sometimes people can smile in your face, but you know the song, they can stab you in the back. And not to say that there is anyone near me or in my life that would do that, but I have to protect me and myself at all times. And so that, that's the reason why I never shared. So let's transition into some tips and tricks and things that I've learned along the way just for the heck of it. And if you're interested in starting a YouTube, this part may be a bit more interesting. So one of the biggest tips that I want to give is learn to use your resources. Like, YouTube can seem so daunting to start, but when I tell you I started with a ring light, and I mean a cheapo ring light, and my cell phone, my 4-year-old cell phone, which is what I'm recording on right now, that has cracks on the screen, all that, yes. And apps. I use any app that's available in the App Store. I use it. That's free. I see what I like, what I don't like. And as you start using that stuff, you start learning, oh, I can do this, do that, and do this, and tricks, and this, and that, and that. I do not edit on my computer because I don't have the time. I work full time and I have other responsibilities that require a lot of my time. And so it's easier for me to edit on the go in between this activity and the next, or on my lunch break. Whereas with a computer, I gotta lug that whole thing around. But that's not to say that at some point I may have to transition, because it's coming. But right now, this is working just fine, and I pray that I got about 2, 3 more years with this phone, because it's alright. Like, y'all like the little surprise and little elements of surprise. I like them, and the phone seems to like it, recording it, and But you don't be afraid to use your resources, and don't think you have to go out and spend a bunch of money to start on YouTube. In that, let's talk about some editing tricks. So one of the things that I do a lot is I clap. I learned this from watching a YouTube video. When you're editing, every time you see yourself clap, you need to cut it, splice it, and something needs to take place there. So it really cuts down on the editing time. And something else that it can be very beneficial is one day when you feeling and looking good, you got the hair trim, ladies got the hair did, the new do, whatever is fresh. Make a bunch of intros and outros that you can use. You can make generic ones, some that are not so generic, and you can use and mix and mingle. And then that also cuts down on the pressure of being in front of the camera. I think a lot of people have anxiety about being in front of the camera until you get comfortable. I'm comfortable, but everybody's different. And that is one way to really get out of that. Like, all right, I made a couple things. I don't have to really get in front of the camera that much unless I want to. And then gradually, being in front of the camera will become more comfortable. But don't let you showing your face or having to do some intros and outros stop you from starting that YouTube channel. Channel growth is a natural product of doing the right thing over and over and over again. And what I've also learned is, in YouTube, this thing is a marathon and not a race. I would much rather have consistent content slowly growing than a viral video. One thing about going viral is, wow, overnight you've had instant success. You have all these new eyes watching you, but what happens next? Can you sustain this audience? And 10 times out of 10, it's no. Because one, you have such a broad audience, and if you don't have a lot of content that a broad audience is going to watch, that you will never see them again. They will never see you again. And that success could be a lot of pressure to continue, and it's going to be really hard if you don't have the foundation set, to retain that following. That's not to say that you can't get lucky, but I would rather win off consistency and luck in YouTube, because you want things that are sustainable, and slow, steady growth with a channel of people who watch you for you or your content or whatever is much better than a lucky viral video where hundreds of thousands of people in all different types of niches and markets are looking at your video. Because after that, what are they to expect from you? One thing that I learned about YouTube is when you have your first video that pops, and for me, I would consider I've never had anything go viral yet. My largest video to date is almost at 14,000 views. But one thing I learned about that video was I need to try to do this again. If the content is not exactly the same, let's try to keep the format and the thumbnail, the idea of the video the same. And I learned this from YouTube, and I can say that it definitely works. Video 26 is my best video so far as viewership. And video 27 is one of the top 3 or 4 videos after that. And I modeled that video, the thumbnail, the idea, and the content of the video after 26. Granted, it was a different video. A lot of the elements were the same. And so I tried to replicate this. And then I got crazy. I got dumb, silly. I completely went off on the deep end and did a Dutch pour. Why? I'm not known for Dutch pours. I don't do Dutch pours very often. It was an experiment, but why mess up something good that's going? There's nothing wrong with showcasing something new on your channel. But at that point, when I'm trying to grow a little bit and see, that was just not smart at all. But you live and you learn. And so I found the information that I researched to be true. Because when I say my videos plummeted, I mean the viewership plummeted. I mean, we're talking, we went from thousands of views to a couple hundred views. But my audience that's not what they were coming to see me for. And that brings me to a point of understanding what your audience wants from you, but giving them what they want. But understanding it's a give and take. And YouTube is a search engine. So if you think of YouTube like Google, people come there to search for things. So when they're searching for something, they're looking to receive something back. They're looking for an answer. They're looking for a solution. They may be looking for whatever they're looking for. You are the creator in which you're providing. So when you think of it that way, it changes your kind of thought process as far as I'm just gonna make what I want. And there, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. But just understand where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do and cater to that audience, and then introduce things and see how they work. But if you going good and you trying to move, don't do what I did. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Another tip, and I know this sounds cliche, but listen, you got to be yourself. And there are like a billion, how many ever people on this earth? Everybody's not going to like you, but somebody is going to like what you have to say, how you say it, and how you present it. So, like, it's okay to be inspired and try new things, and, but, like, just be yourself and understand that at this point, everybody may not want to see you, or you may not have the viewership, but if you consistently report back, showcase whatever story or information that you're giving in a manner that people like, and it's something that they're interested in, people will follow, people will listen, people will subscribe, and you will grow. Like, for me, I'm goofy in person, I'm goofy on screen. Like, anyone that knows me, how I'm on camera is how I am in person. That's just who I am, and I'm not afraid. And some people don't like it. Like, I have had comments, you talk too much. Okay. This is what the people like to see me do while I make art. When I don't put my face on the videos, people say, where were you today? So it's like, you can't please everyone. Does that sound a bit contradictory to what I said about catering to your audience? Yes. But there's a big difference. Cater to your audience, but be your authentic self. And that's all I got to say about that. Next tip, if you're going to start a YouTube, listen here. Come in, let's. Lighting, so important. Lighting will kill your video. Remember, it's a search engine. If the music is loud, the lighting is bad, are you going to want to watch yourself? I'm not. That's something to keep in mind. Some of the simplest things about YouTube is the lighting. And you don't have to listen. When I record, I'll be having lamps all over the place. Like, it's not no big old theatrical production. I have one lamp that shines over, and I got a couple others in different places, and I just make that thing work. And my lighting is not the best. Could it be improved? Tremendously, but right now it gets the job done. But who wants to see something dark, especially if you're in this market of art? We need to see what you're doing, and you need to see what you're doing. Now, we're about to get this party started. We're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna talk a little bit, but I gotta clean up just a little bit. So yes, I had to get cleaned up for the end of this video, and we're about to have some fun. We're going to talk about, I got 3 fun questions that have come along in this journey that people constantly ask that I wanted to share, but I had to clean it up, you know what I'm saying, bring the size down, fade action going for you. So, who is Hilda and how did Hilda come about? Hilda is my executive producer, and she was birthed by 2 reasons. People kept asking me, who's editing your do you have someone editing your videos? How did you listen? I'm flattered by the questions and editing tips and all this, but I have no formal training. I do it all myself. And furthermore, I ain't got no budget to be hiring nobody to do no editing right now. So people kept asking, I'm like, yo, like, well, I should have an executive producer. And that is how Hilda came along. But there is also another reason, which can be a little bit petty, but listen, I'm going to be completely transparent and honest. So when I first started YouTube, a bunch of YouTube creators who were just starting out had a group chat and try to encourage and help each other. And, you know, people eventually fall by the wayside and it's gone. But in that group, there was another creator who I talked to frequently, and after a while I noticed that that creator started incorporating a lot of things that I was doing, which is completely fine. Inspiration is fine, but it was like, okay, be inspired, but like do something a little different. And I was like, listen, you cannot outdo me, baby. Like, I think of this stuff on the spot. Like, no. I'm gonna have to raise my antics up just a little bit. And that was another reason Hilda came along, because like that's just me, like quirky goofiness. Like, yes, I can be serious, but I like to have fun. Next question. People always ask me about painting in my beard. Yeah, yes, my beard. Like, it happens sometimes, but I like to stay relatively clean. So like, I just know just about how close I can get. But one time my entire beard got painted white. I didn't know. Like, I got in the shower. I paint late at night, so a lot of times I get in the shower, go to bed, go to work the next day. When I got to work the next day, I realized that most of my beard was still white. And I went to the bathroom and just began like picking it out. So yes, I have gotten paint in my beard a couple times, one really bad time, but most of the time I just know how to keep the, all right, back on up, play it, back on up. And recently, someone asked me what my favorite video was, and that is a tough one. I can tell you video 26, 27, video 30 were some of my favorites. Video number 4, but my absolute favorite video was actually video number 70. And that was when I did a compilation pour of a bunch of different techniques using the same paints. And it was my favorite because I sprinkled a little bit of me in there, but I also gave you a bunch of different paint techniques. And that video surfaced to YouTube for a bit, and so it introduced some people to fluid art, and I just love the response. It's like, wow, those were all the same colors and you made so many different things. And I got a couple really nice emails about that video, and I just love that color scheme. It's going to be in a collection coming up really soon. That's your little secret tip. But yeah, like that, I think right now is my favorite video of all time. So I'm going to link it above so you can see it. And that's it. As as I conclude this video, I'm going to leave you with some stats from my first year for you to take a look. You can ask any questions about the stats in the live stream coming up. I decided to leave that portion out because this video was long enough, and I know most of y'all are not even watching anymore. But I just wanted to tell you how absolutely grateful I am for each and every one of you, and just the continued support and the love of my channel. I have so many ideas that I'm having to tame it down and just focus on a couple things, but I will get to it. I am going to still do the YouTube series. I'm revamping my Dollar Tree series because I lost most of the content associated that I shot last year, but it is coming back because I think that you will find it very cool to watch. And lastly, I'm about to give you a hug, but I gotta put my mask on first. So thank y'all for watching, and bring it on in. Just bring it on in.